Meeting called to order. I'd like to say good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. We will first start with our roll call.
Dr. Ross? Here. Mr. West?
Here.
Dr. Blunt? Here. Mrs. Ware? Here. Mr. James?
Here. Everyone is present. Now we will have adoption of the agenda.
I move for adoption of the agenda as printed.
Second.
Okay. It was moved by Dr. Robinson, second by Dr. Munch. All in favor? Aye. It passes 5-0. Okay. Mr. Jackson, everybody ready with you? Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. James, members of the board, as you're aware, we had two students at Natchez High School who are deceased students, and at this time we would like to express on behalf of the district and the school board our deepest condolences to their parents and present their pictures to them at this time. Cameron Jones, his mother, Ms. Dix. Eric Davis and his mother and father, Tamika Wilson. I know this is just a token of our appreciation for all the support you've given us, even after the passing. You have been there for us and the rest of the class of 2022. We wanted to thank you and show our appreciation for you on your passing of your child.
Thank you.
And so you get to have his picture as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. James, members of the board, on behalf of Heather Jackson, principal of Natchez-Adams College, and myself, we would like to present those scholars who have scored exceptionally well on the ACT. From Early College, we have Timothy Blaylock, who scored a 33. Tavia Morris, who scored a 30.
You invite her mother to take a picture too?
They got her in the hallway. From Natchez High School, we have William Johnson, who scored a 26. Micaiah Johnson, who scored a 20. Caden Allen, 22. And Ashton Williams, who scored a 24.
Let me ask a question. You gave everybody's score. You mentioned Ms. Morris scored a 30.
Yes.
What grade is she?
She's a 10th grader at Natchez-Adams College.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Also, when students score 30 or above, they are recognized by the state of Mississippi as a star student, and we would like to recognize Mr. Timothy Blaylock as a star student for Natchez-Adams College. Thank you.
Mr. James, member of the board, if you would please, in our last special meeting, you allowed us to hire a parent liaison to work both with our parents here in all of our schools and help in trying to make sure that our PTAs are better organized and all. So I want to introduce you to the person you're recommending for that job, is Ms. Paula Morris. She has a very good track record out at Early College, so we're hoping we'll be able to generalize some of those same good things in all of our schools as it relates to PTA organization.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
You did the 5.2 and 5.3, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we will have 5.4 NAACP. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank the board, Mr. James. I must have had another senior moment on the 14th of June. And I probably felt that I was Superwoman and I could do both of them at the same time, but it didn't work that way, so I apologize for my absence. And I want to thank you all for allowing us to come before you today. We're going to make this very short. I have some information for all of you. I think I have enough for everybody. I have specifically information for the board. Thank you. And I hope I put enough in there for the attorney also. And I know I included you, Mr. Butcher.
Thank you.
All right.
So I give it to the attorney. Okay, I'll give one more.
We can handle that.
Okay, thank you. Very quickly, we just want to go to the areas to be addressed. Most of you all have, I think every board member should have a copy of the white paper on poverty that we've been working on since December. And we presented to the board members the entire packet in December. And I made sure Mrs. Ware got one earlier this month because she was not with us in December, but I want to make sure she had one. We today are just coming before you for those particular areas that we would like to be addressed by this particular board. One is under education. We would like for you to identify the Youth Build program as a major component or entity to be housed under workforce development. We know that workforce development is something that you all are in cooperative relationship with the city, the county, the school district. But we feel like the Youth Build concept needs to be placed with you all in the workforce development program. It would help us get 16 to 24-year-old young people who have not finished high school, don't have skills. It would help to get them off of the streets. It would help to give them a skill. And this thing started with Mr. West when he was mayor. We had the program, so he can give you, I don't have to go into it, he can give you all of the aspects of the Youth Build program, what was done by the city, how it was run, how it was worked through Lincoln Community College for them to get either the GED or go forward and get some building or trade sort of the diploma from Colin to back up their certification. That's what I'm saying. So if we could get that going along with what we're already doing with housing, what happened when we had it in the city, they helped us with the housing piece. They helped to demolish houses. They helped to do some minimal work on houses because a lot of it was carpenter skills and things of that nature. But whatever you do with Youth Build, if it could be housed in workforce development, would be a significant help. Part 2, number 2 says, using the concepts and precepts of workforce development, plan now to utilize proposed vacant schools for programs now currently provided by a workforce entity in Adams County. Now, I stated it like that because I've been told by members of the Board of Supervisors that in workforce development, if one area is doing something, you can't duplicate it somewhere else. So if there's something that you can find that is not being included in workforce, then maybe it could be housed in one of the transitions, and that's the word I'd like to use, transition schools. And we came before you all before and said some things, but we didn't give it to you in writing. So we're giving it to you in writing again, specifically to the Board of Trustees, not with any of the other boards. This is specifically to this board, that possibly looking at a school of cosmetology, possibly housing a Youth Build program or an AmeriCorps program. We need that gym for community health, fitness, and general welfare. I think we were using the gym over in Martin at one time. It was in a deplorable situation. I think the one at Robert Lewis Middle can be saved. The cafetorium over there, I used to do programs over there, so I love the cafetorium. And I know that Reverend Ford at one time, Reverend Scott, had one of his programs over there, one of his, those celebrations for pastors, had it over there in recent years, in the last few years. Classrooms for GED tutorial programs, the 9th grade academy, I think you all already got something going on for that. We were looking at tourism, and I think Representative Robert Johnson 20 years ago wanted to design a program to train people in the hospitality workforce. And we suggested looking at that. And it's just the idea of set development, staging, and training of other trades connected with the movie industry could utilize vast spaces and any schools closed through the transition process. So we're saying transition schools. We just don't want them to have any downtime. I talked to somebody today and they said a seamless. I said, that's the word I need to use, a seamless transition. Number 3, we would like for you to assist the county and the city in lobbying Congressman Thompson for an AmeriCorps designation. I spoke with him when he was here. He's already done a round, and if you pull up his resume, you'll see where they are. They're in various other places because we are new to Congressional District 2. But that he said there's a good possibility. Well, I can't do nothing right. I said, no, I'm not talking about right now. I'm not arguing about where you already have them. I'm simply saying when you get ready to do the next round, could you include us? And then when I looked into AmeriCorps, I talked with Scott Slover. He wanted to know which part of AmeriCorps do we want. We are in discussion with Gertrude Young and people from Vicksburg. There is one there. What would be the best fit? We're not asking to try to tell you what the best fit would be. Just know that there are several aspects to AmeriCorps, and whatever would be good for the city of Natchez and would help us with this other housing piece that we have in it would be what we would be looking for. The last thing, under recreation, this would be completely to you. As a part of the recreation group, if you could help us, and we'll go forth and help you lobby for full funding to complete the enclosure of Adams County swimming facility. We need that. We can do it to help. The hospitals can use it. You all could use it. I talked with some of you. I'll just say I talked with you. We could get the swim classes up. It's my understanding, Mr. Ware, I can't find anybody here to be a lifeguard because they can't do the number of laps, and I don't know what it is, but it's more than 3 or 4 that you have to do. It's my understanding consistently. But if we could get those swim classes up and going all year round, we could train our own, to do that and have those jobs either in the summer or year round. And the last, make sure I'm doing it right. Because I won't have to come back, and I know y'all won't. I love y'all. I love coming down here. This is home to me. Okay. Under housing and blighted neighborhoods, we're not asking you all to do anything. We've already presented to the school district, to the city of Natchez and to the board of supervisors. And right now, and we presented it to them this month because we know they're getting ready to go into budgets. We're just asking that if you talk to them or if you can, support it, because anything that is increased, anytime a child can have a better situation at home, it's going to be a better situation at school. And it's going to be a better situation for that positive outcome in life. And that's where we're going. That's what we're trying to do. So those are we're not asking you to do anything with that particular situation other than to lobby or support it. If you're in a discussion, it comes down here, three groups are together, support it. And that would be the understanding. That's what the SNAP part. If you go back through our initial presentation, you'll see it. The one that we gave out, our packet, you'll see what we're asking for. We think we may be able to get some designation of money from the county, for the county, and from the city for the city. So that's it. I would like to thank the members of the NAACP who were here. I hope I saw everybody. I know Ms. Oliver came in, and Mr. Jones came in, and Ms. Chapman was here when I got here, and Mr. Ford was here. But any other members of the NAACP, if I left you out, I didn't mean to. They have been hanging in here. This has been a work in progress. We're not through. This is just where we are sort of taking a break in terms of we're at this point, this benchmark, and this is where we're stopping for right now. Then we'll pick it back up in August. But thank you all very much for allowing us to come. Again, I apologize for messing up your meeting earlier this month. But thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have it? I think you got a good plan, and I'm ready to see this happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brother Jones, you got some good workers there.
Oh, I got some people. I got some soldiers.
Oh,
Can I say one thing?
yeah.
I want to thank you all for letting us use their facilities for Saturday. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. All right. Next week. Okay, 5.5. Ms. Blunt.
Hi, I'm Katie Blunt. I'm Director of the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, and I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today to continue our ongoing discussion about the Washington School in Washington. As you know, we've been talking about Washington School for a while, and I hope we can continue that conversation. It is a historic school building. It is a Mississippi landmark, was designated in 1996. Archives and History is very committed to preserving historic school buildings. We make multiple grants every year around the state for that purpose. We have a special interest in the Washington School because of its location right adjacent to historic Jefferson College, which is an Archives and History site that we have big plans for. We came down a few weeks ago for a press conference announcing that the Mississippi legislature has provided $8 million in state funding for our two projects in Natchez. One, to build a new museum at Grand Village of the Natchez Indians, and two, to restore the historic buildings on the Jefferson College campus for use as an interpretive center interpreting the broad history of the Natchez region, given its national significance. And that story, at the heart of that story will be a cotton economy built on slavery. Our other plan for the campus at Historic Jefferson College is to house a preservation field school in partnership with Mississippi State University and Tulane University and possibly additional IHL schools. The idea will be that students can be housed there and taught historic preservation skills that are in great demand in the marketplace, including brick repointing and window restoration and other skills. So that is our plan for Jefferson College. And in conversations with you all and with Mr. Butcher, we've talked about the importance of Washington School and the close relationship between our plans and y'all's plans for Washington School. And I bring today a proposal that we have arrived at through conversations with Mr. Butcher and y'all. And you have a letter in front of you that spells that out. But the idea is that the Department of Archives and History could fund a master plan for the Washington School that would include a conditions assessment of the building, recommendations on priorities for repair and restoration, and possible uses for the building. We're very interested in exploring shared uses between the Preservation Trade School and the school district. There are functions of the trade school that could be housed better in the Washington School building than in the existing buildings at Jefferson College. I know there's a wonderful auditorium in the building, and we would be very interested in exploring that through this master planning process. And it would be important too to know more about the school district's plans. I know you have plans for the building yourself, and I think we would want to have conversations about whether those plans are compatible and which areas you might be able to allow us to share the use of. The grant that we're proposing making, if y'all are interested in this idea, could be up to $50,000, and it is not a competitive grant. This would be the school district would, the school board would take a vote committing to developing a master plan for the building. We would help connect you with architects with expertise in historic preservation who could do this kind of master plan. You would select one, and when you had a cost for the master plan, you would take a vote as a school board requesting a Mississippi Landmark grant from the Department of Archives and History. I would recommend a grant to the Board of Trustees, and presumably they would approve it. So this is not a competitive grant program, and it would not require a match. These are special grants that we reserve for emergencies in Mississippi Landmark buildings and for buildings of special significance or interest to the Department of Archives and History. If the school district commits to the preservation and use of the Washington School, you would also be eligible for funding through our annual competitive grant program. It is typically funded at $5 million by the legislature. And we typically offer a grant round of about $3.5 million because there are always specific projects that are cited, but we do this every year, and we give special priorities to historic school buildings that are in use, especially in use as school buildings. That, again, is a competitive grant program. It does require a 20% match, 20% of the total cost of the project. And it would come with additional requirements, commitment on the school district, and part of the school district, which I can talk about if you're interested in hearing. But you may want to ask questions about what I've said so far, and I'm happy to answer them.
Tell me about a little bit more about the grant, the initial grant.
Okay, the initial grant could be up to $50,000.
Okay, we don't have that in hand.
No.
Correct. We have to apply for that grant.
You would have to, it could be a simple letter to our Board of Trustees indicating the school board's interest in developing a master plan and preserving and using that site. And then I would recommend a grant to the Board of Trustees. There's no long process like with the CHPG grant. And I should have mentioned that one other subject that we're very interested in exploring with y'all is a partnership with the school district to extend that historic preservation career training to, I always say K through 12, really probably we're talking about high school, but through a partnership with the Fallon Career and Technology Center. I think that would also open up other potential grant opportunities from organizations outside the Department of Archives and History. We are seeking additional funding for the project at Jefferson College, and would be very happy to work in partnership with the school district to seek additional funding for a program like that.
I have a question if you like to.
Okay.
If the board voted to pursue the $50,000 grant, would that obligate the board in any kind of way?
It would, I'll start with the obligation that is already in place, which is through the Mississippi Landmark designation. That obligates the school district to seek a permit from the Board of Trustees of the Department of Archives and History for any changes to the building that might affect its historic character. You remember some years ago, the gymnasium was close to collapse. I think the roof was gone, and the school district came to MDAH for a demolition permit for the gymnasium, and that was awarded. So that is already in place. Any changes that you make to the Washington School require a notice of intent to the department and a permit from the Board of Trustees.
And if anyone else was working with the school, they would also have to go through you all? If it was leased by anyone else, would they also have to go through you before they could do anything?
Yes.
Because it is covered since, what you said, 1996.
That's right.
As a historic land.
That's right. That's right.
So basically, somebody would have to do the same thing you're asking us to do.
Exactly.
Which is for a plan that then goes back to you all to approve.
Exactly. There are no additional legal requirements of the for the Mississippi Landmark Grant in addition to what I've already described. However, I would not want to recommend that grant to the Board of Trustees without some assurance that the school district intends to preserve and use the building.
But we have to preserve and use the building.
Yes, but
in a way that fits your organization.
That's right, but the condition that we would hope to change, I mean, the building is abandoned right now, and we would want this to be an investment in.
But we get, I mean, we get that.
All right.
I get that.
Okay.
So you want some obligation.
Yes,
Yeah.
but there is no, you will not be signing the kind of document
A
that I
contract.
described, right? With the, if you apply then for a community heritage preservation grant, that is the competitive grant program that requires a match. That does require the owner to award an easement to the Department of Archives and History It basically commits the owner to preserving the building. It's a preservation and maintenance covenant that lasts 25 years, and it's basically an assurance of the protecting the investment of the state's money that has been awarded, and that's every CHPG grant recipient. But again, that's this kind of the second grant we're talking about,
Right, not the
first.
Could you describe what you mean by a field school for MSU in Tulane?
Sure. It would not be just for MSU and Tulane students. Those are two institutions that have historic preservation programs and have already expressed interest in this. But it might be operated in partnership with one of those two institutions. But the idea is that students working toward a college degree as part of their degree program could come to Jefferson College, stay there in two of the buildings that would be restored for that purpose, and have hands-on preservation training from experts that would be brought in from around the country to teach them these skills. So for instance, if Mississippi State were running a preservation school there, that would be for their students, but we would like this to be open to any institution that has a historic preservation program that wants to bring its students there.
But you're also envisioning that students from Natchez-Adams County School District can then participate in college classes that
or
would be applicable. I mean,
yes, or high school classes.
high school. That's
yes,
what I mean.
right,
Yeah,
right,
I mean,
right.
like in maybe dual enrollment type thing.
Right,
That would give them
right.
college credit.
Right. I think there are a lot of
The way that we have with
possibilities.
the way that we work with Colleen.
That's right, and we would be very
Or our
interested.
Fallon Career Center.
Right, we are definitely interested in working with Colin on that. And Mississippi State has a very strong commitment to building on trade skills that students have already gained and putting them on track to a 4-year degree. And so I think they would be very interested also in including in extending this program to high school students who might then, it creates not only a career pipeline for college students, but also an education pipeline for high school students. We had an initial conversation with Alcorn University about this, and we will pursue that. It's not as straightforward because they don't have a historic preservation degree, but we're interested in thinking creatively about how to work with any institution that's interested.
Right. Some of their students might actually be interested in.
That's right.
In taking those classes that they could then transfer.
That's
transfer
right.
credit.
That's right. As long as the institution can figure out, how it works toward a degree at their institution, we are interested in working with them.
Okay. Is there any more questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and y'all know where to find me if you have any more questions or need any more information. Thank you, Mr. Bush. Thank you.
All right. Now we will have approve our minutes. Approve of May 17, 2022 special call minute. Approve of May 17, 2022 regular meeting minute. Then approve of May 24, 2022 special call minute. And approve of June 9, 2022 special call meeting minutes. Can we get approval?
Move that we approve 611, 612, 613, 614.
No, sir.
Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Ware, second by Mr. West. Any discussion? If none, all in favor? Aye. It passes 5-0. Okay. Item number 7, approval of consent items. Is there anything in the consent item that we would like to move to approve? The action item? Anything needs to be moved at this time? If not, can we get approval of our consent item?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Dr. Robinson, second by Dr. Blunt. Any discussion? If none, all in favor? Aye. It passes 5-0. Now with item number 8.1, Ms. Bryce.
Good evening, Mr. James and members of the board. The Office of Human Resources will present the personnel report for the month of June, 8.1, and the personnel vacancy list, 8.18. It's the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Trustees approve the attached personnel changes in the document submitted.
Wait a minute, is this,
Yes.
okay, well, I need to leave, Bruce?
Because he has a child.
I would. Okay, don't y'all vote yet. Okay. Don't y'all have no lengthy discussion now, so y'all keep me out of here.
Well, I mean, we ain't taking over about 30 minutes to do this. Just stand outside.
Okay.
I move for approval of the personnel report and the vacancy list.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
It passes 4-0. But we had more on that. Okay, that's just those two, okay. Now he can come back in for the B, C, and D. Okay. Now we will have for personnel. B, C, and D. Okay? What is What is it?
Yeah, one change you make on a lot of Washington.
Ms. Bryce, will you take a look at certified staff recommendations? Number 4 in the board book, I see a name, I think it should be in another area, but just double check.
Certified staff number 4.
Yes.
Fix the building up or whatever. Add down.
And Mr. Berry's song, we up as full as we can go up, right?
Yeah, talking to the microphone.
So we got to put our pay to the mic. Well, I know you're not a showing, but
What did you say, Ms. McDonald? Repeat that, please.
She's on the way, you all.
singer.
Okay.
I was a DJ.
You just have to put your voice
Okay, but I know you
Don't tell me, you gotta make the voice
you
clear.
gonna give us a class on it.
Don't take my 30.
Yeah.
Now, when we are checking that item, could we move on to the next item, which would be B?
Well, B, I got a question about B, but we can approve it.
No, that's important. I was just saying,
No.
give us a minute to take a look at it.
Hey, the what?
Hey,
The vacancy list?
yes.
Okay, well, he good on the personnel, so we passed that. So, no, we couldn't approve what I got, we're putting that in.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to B, C, and D then. Okay, the vacancy list is the only thing that we dealing with now. Okay, we good with that?
Yes.
Okay. But now we can go it on then with B, C, and D.
You go A, B, C, D.
But I think Dr. Robinson, when she did that. She already did.
B, C, and D, right?
Okay, now we need a motion for B, C, and D. Can we have that? 8.1, B, C, and D. Can we get a motion?
Move that we approve 8.1 B, C, D.
Okay,
Second.
okay. There was a motion by Ms. Ware, second by Dr. Blunt. All in favor? Aye. It passes 5-0.
What we would like to do, where the adjustment is there, we would like to structure a letter so the board president and all board members sign those letters and send to those individual employees so they will know that it's a team effort.
On the radio.
Any adjustments?
Yeah.
that it comes from the board.
Right, and we will have that letter ready on Monday.
We put,
So we can still get
put some
around to
glitter
each
around
of
your
you
name.
before it only get signed.
Put some glitter around your name. But you pushed. Put a picture of you
I
on
don't push it forward. Yeah, well, this is,
All right.
we're going in the right direction.
8.2, that's Mr. Howard, talking to the mic. You got your one backwards, ain't you? You got your man's old backwards, ain't you? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, you got your man on. That was a real doctor. Because it's white. Well, what you should have said, well, I wanted to match my shirt. See, you would have been good to go. But see, you forgot to say that. You can't think quick.
Hey, the hell, you in my business.
This was material right here.
Yeah, but
And we was thinking together.
I didn't have the mirror.
Right.
You know,
Right. Oh, look at it when you put it on somebody. Yeah, look
I
at
mean,
it.
anybody's supposed to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Check it.
Yeah, check your uniform. Look it over. You stay together.
All right, good evening, President James, board members. Deputy Superintendent McDonald, Mr. King. Ms. Cruz. Today we requesting approval to accept bids on 16 section land, section 51, Township 8 North, Range 1 West, 349 acres and 349.34 acres. The minimum bid starting at $36. The background information on this lease is the hunting and fishing lease on the above mentioned section will expire on June 30th, 2022. Advertisement and bid information was sent out to all inquiring parties interested in the above mentioned land. The administrative considerations are we're requesting permission to accept the highest bid for the above mentioned 16 section land. The superintendent's recommendation it is recommended that the board grant permission to accept the highest bid for the hunting and fishing lease on the 16 section land.
I move for approval of permission to accept bids for 16 section land.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Howard.
So
Have we got anything?
You can accept bid.
Open the bid.
No, you're talking about, okay. You got to open, only one bid?
We only have received one bid on this.
Okay, well, then you gonna open it up, then we'll accept it.
Okay.
I thought he was advertising.
That's what I thought he was advertising.
This is accepting.
Yeah, this is to accept.
Accept the bid. Okay.
I thought just as you did.
We received just one bid,
I understand.
and it's actually the current DC.
Always.
Let's see how much
Okay.
money he's got.
Got that all fixed. Make sure it's on the one here.
His bid proposal sheet. His bid per acre is $36, which is the minimum amount. For the total bid amount of $12,576.24.
What was it last time, do you know?
That's what it was last time.
Okay.
Yeah. And the name of the bidder is Joseph Sue.
Joseph who?
Joseph Sue.
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 Sue. S-E-W.
S-E-W-E-L-L.
Sewell, yeah. Okay, from New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah.
You ex.
All right.
I missed that one, but I'm gonna laugh anyway.
And he has his check for the correct amount.
All
Bruce, is
right.
everything in order? That's all we expected, anticipated, right?
Okay, now we get this.
Well, I'll offer motion, we accept the lowest, best, and only bid.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
So we go to the New Orleans guy.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Did she hear you? Did she hear you? Lakita, did you the highest bid?
Yes, sir.
I meant to say the highest.
Okay.
And it's still the lowest because it's on.
8.3, Mr. Dunbar.
Mr. Dunbar is not here, but we are recommending, this is like a career program here, Project Lead the Way. It's not a whole lot of money, but we think that as soon as we can introduce our students to career path, the better off they will be in the long run. So it's just more like an introduction kind of a program.
Okay. So all we need is a motion for that, I guess.
I move that we approve the requested Energy Mississippi grant for Robert Lewis Magnet Schools.
Second. Hold on, you got it.
It's been moved and second, all in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. 8.5, Ms. Bassett.
Ms. Bass not here, but Ms. Lee will be appreciated for her.
8.4.
Good afternoon to Mr. James and the board.
Okay.
The Department of Special Services is requesting the approval to advertise for contractual services with licensed professional specialists for student assessment and services, licensed language speech pathologists, high school behavior specialists, and any other specialists that deem necessary as required to provide related services as specified on the IEP. And to contract with other professional consulting services for professional development.
Second.
It's been moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. You gotta come again, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The special education lead teacher is a professional who assumes responsibility for the direction, coordination, and screening of the special education process in the assigned building, from screening through identification, IEP development, and placement to ensure appropriate identification and placement of students with disabilities in district compliance with state and federal requirements for the implementation of the Individual with Disabilities Education Act. The special education lead teacher will also provide instructional support and lead teacher mentorship.
What sort of education does this require? Does this require a PhD?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It requires a master's in special services.
Yeah.
Exceptional services, right.
Okay.
Right.
But are they going to do testing, or we're going to contract out for a lot of that testing?
You know, in this particular case, we're trying to make sure we have our own lead teacher.
Okay.
And in this particular case, we have somebody in-house. We're not contracting anything out. We want to use somebody that's already in the district.
Okay.
I move that we approve the education, the job description for the lead special education teacher.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it says 5-0. 8.6. 8.6.
Ms. Butler?
Good afternoon, Mr. James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Mrs. McDonald. Thank you all so very much. It is my esteemed honor to present to you board item 8.6 under instructional program. MDE, and that being the Mississippi Department of Education, requires that all students 7th through 12th grade have an individual success plan. That is a plan that actually steers and structures a plan for students to select their career or college pathway as early as 7th grade. The Mississippi Department of Education sees this as such a serious issue for our students that they have purchased a platform that all public schools in Mississippi will utilize for students' individual success plan. Natchez-Adams School District is taking it a step farther, and we are asking you all to approve
an additional or an extension of the Major Clarity platform where our students as early as 4th grade start thinking about and planning for and looking at information relevant to their college or career success plan. So it is the superintendent's recommendation that the school board approve the purchase of the below identified components of the Major Clarity platform for our students' Mississippi Individual Success Plan. And just for informational purposes, our district actually was a part of a pilot program. And we actually utilized Major Clarity last year. After our district and other districts utilized it, MDE thought it such a significant and important program that actually targets students' preferred college choice or career choice that they have purchased it. We're going to extend it to 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. So for a very minimum cost, we're asking the board to approve our district extending the Major Clarity platform to include 4th through 6th grade, and MDE pays for 7th through 12th grade. Any questions?
So that annual license is just for 4th and 5th grade, that $1,000?
In 6th grade, I can barely hear her.
And yeah, because
I'm sorry.
I just see the 4th and 5th. I just see 4th and 5th grade on here, so it includes the 6th grade?
It does. Look at number 4 on the attachment section. Number 4, you should have in your packet a price for 6th grade as well, and that's just $450.
Okay, I see it.
It should be included. I apologize if it's not.
Yeah, it's down at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Under secondary platform.
It is, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I mean, that's a good price because the setup is included, which is usually costly for a setup fee.
I guess if they're contracted with the entire state, then maybe we probably give it a little bit better deal.
Okay, if they buy one platform for everyone, yeah.
Every school district, all 152 school districts, I believe, have this for 7th through 12th grade paid for through MDE.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know how many are going for the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade? Or will we be the first? I'd like to be the first.
Do not, but that is definitely a good research question.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve extending the Major Clarity platform, because we don't have to approve the platform. Right. It's an extension. And the extension. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor? It passes 5-0. Okay, that was all of them. How many more you got?
I've got 2 more, sir.
Okay. 8.7.
Okay, Mr. James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald. Presented to you is our district's request to purchase for the 2nd year a platform that is really integral and instrumental to our students' social emotional learning. We're asking the board to approve this year, as you did last year, a platform that is entitled Rethink Ed. And it is built or designed around the Castle platform. And I know everyone knows, I think it's safe to say everyone knows that the Castle platform, the acronym CASEL, is the foundation of the premise for social emotional learning, and it is the platform that ASCA, the American School Counselors Association, uses as its teaching construct for our students' emotional well-being. We, Natchez-Adams School District, utilized the Rethink Learning Management Platform last year. Counselors used it for individual sessions, small group sessions, as well as large group. Teachers even have access to the platform, and they're able to go in and extend upon what counselors have already introduced and are working with children on. The good part about this platform is that it has a pre and post test, and students are encouraged to take these pre and post tests, and it gauges how students enter the school year, their SEL mindset, and after going through the platform, their understanding of everything from dealing with anger, dealing with death, just a plethora of areas, okay, of SEL components. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Natchez-Adams School District approve the purchase of the Rethink, the first choice of professional educators for this 22-23 school year.
Did you take a course in sales?
I won't tell you who, but someone, a colleague, just texted me and encouraged me to talk a little less, so I'll follow directions.
You did a great job.
What kind of costs is involved in this?
That is,
I'm using my
total
phone.
cost would be $38,000.
38,000, where is this coming out of? Is it coming out of our regular budget or yes? Oh, federal funds, not else. Okay.
But I do want to say to Ms. Butler, and I know that you agree with me, as much as we have good platforms, these are valid things, they don't, social and emotional learning is done through teachers, good teachers with students. Let's never forget, we can pay all we want, or the federal, whoever pays for it. Platforms work like Canvas or any of the teaching platforms. They only work as good as the person running them and working with them. And we still never lose sight that it takes teachers for social and emotional learning for kids. And so, you know.
Let me ask this. So we use it one full year?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the outcome?
I did not place it in your packet, but it shows that on the professional development side, 472 staff logins. And now these could be teachers who have logged in numerous times, but they actually sent me a graph, and it shows how students' growth mindset, learning skills, their goal setting, problem solving, self-control, stress management, all of those areas either increase if I'm doing a better job setting goals, or it decreased. So in the areas where my mindset or my SEL mindset should have increased, it increased. In those areas where it should have decreased, you know, I get upset easily. It could have been high in on the graph early on. Now at the end of the school year, my ability to deal with anger, the number on the graph is lower, which means I have a better understanding of how to deal with anger. So the graph does show in most areas. The counselors first being integral to the implementation of this, and teachers helping out as that secondary or that support or that co-teacher those areas are moving in the direction in which they should for our students' social emotional learning.
Okay, so basically, are those real-time responses?
Yes, ma'am. They are.
Okay.
They are. This platform, as soon as the children go in, it grabs those responses, and we actually get a monthly report, and we have monthly meetings with our representatives of this platform.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now we get approved.
I move that we approve the Rethink Ed for extended year.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second, all in favor? It passes 5-0. 8.8.
Mr. James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald, presented to you is a platform that our district has used in the past, and we are now seeking to have you approve it again. It is the Branching Minds platform. MTSS is a part of the instructional process for all school districts. It is an MDE mandate that schools have and fully implement a multi-tiered system of supports that addresses students who need support in tier 1, which is that high quality instruction. Tier 2, children who may need additional support in the classroom. And tier 3, those students, which should be a small group of students who need intensive intervention. This platform, through Branching Minds, allows us to input all of our students, everything from parent conferences to all of their data is embedded in this platform. So if the MTSS team is meeting, if a parent meeting is taking place, if a teacher meeting is taking place, if a MET meeting is taking place, the MTSS coordinator is able or has the ability to access this platform and find all of the students' data in one place. Coupled with this platform also has a component that allows us to input a student's academic issue and pull up, and it provides us resources that will help us to address the student's need, if it's behavior or academic, and guides us on setting up an intensive intervention plan for students in tier 2 or 3. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Natchez-Adams School District Board approve the purchase of the Branching Mind products and service for the elementary schools for the 22-23 school year. Thank you. Any questions?
Any other questions?
Well,
No question.
again, Ms. Butler,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just want to emphasize, in the report, that these are things that are helping teachers do their job, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That is it. Exactly correct.
Yeah, I think if you imagine right now, if you go to doctors with, right, all the doctors carry around a little iPad or whatever the case is. I know in some of the larger hospitals, if you went to your regular doctor or whatever the case is.
I understand what it is. I know that there are different platforms to do the same job.
Right.
And the main thing is to have a user-friendly one that works with the teachers. So that's why I'm questioning her, not questioning the fact that we've got to have these things because this is the world in which we live, but it's also make sure that it's user-friendly and it's not taking up teachers' time, but instead making their jobs easier.
I think it's to save teachers time because of the fact they can go into this platform and if the child's on the property, get the teacher all the information right there.
I know that MDE is requiring lots of things and information and data, but I don't want to overburden teachers with creating data that, is not useful for them, Mr. Butcher. That's my only concern.
As educators, we all agree with that because just simply because of the fact that sometimes we have so much data that we don't have time to teach.
That's right.
And this year, because of comments from the board, we restructured the MTSS process to decrease the work that teachers have to do and place their responsibility with other employees.
Okay. Are principals participating with these workshops?
Yes, ma'am, we have to.
They are principals, MTSS and teachers actually sit in when different vendors are presenting their platforms. For every platform that I presented this afternoon, a team sits in with the varied vendors and make a selection. And for MTSS meetings that are held at the schools, principals participate. Someone from each admin team is a part of, either an admin or a designee is a part of all of the meetings for MTSS.
Well, our goal this year is to make sure that all of the principals, assistant principals, everybody hear the same thing at the same time. Because as life would have it, and as fate would have it, we don't know who might be out at a given time. So if everybody hears the same thing, at least they'll be introduced to the concept.
You know, because sometimes you have a designee, you may not get the full entire message.
Or might not communicate with somebody else.
Exactly. Just like the rumor earlier with the 30 minutes. You know.
But it's been moved and can I get a second?
Second.
Been moved and second, all in favor? I already said, I tell Mr. Butcher now, is it any, when we look at the way the district is ran from the state down, is it any type of paperwork that we can get rid of?
You know what?
Any type of paperwork that we can get rid of, because it's just a lot of paper. I be sitting here and I be like, we need a paper for this, a paper for this, a paper for this, data for this. Is there anything that we can throw away and stop the ad? I'm just saying, with all this paperwork,
You know, we killed a lot of trees.
yeah.
Well, and what concerns me, Mr. James, is the same thing, is that the teacher is then in front of a screen.
All day.
Exactly, you know, it's just exhausting to be in front of, I know, because I've been a teacher, that and everyone requires a new password, ID, and it just, you know, it just mounts up so that the teacher is just sitting in front of that screen, putting in data. And I agree with you, if we can avoid any of it, we must.
I mean, 'cause everybody wants paperwork.
I guess at this
It's not paper, but it's paper.
I guess at this particular point, there's no way to gauge whether all of these different things that we're doing will come out in the end and show real improvement overall for the district. There's no way, when will we be able to make that kind of determination? Because we've done a lot of things in addition to what we normally do over the last, at least couple of years.
Well, but some of these things that Mr. I understand what you're saying, because, you know, this board is very explicit about making sure we can show results. Some of this is mandated by MDE, you know, we don't really have.
I understand.
We don't have a choice. And what, you know, MDE would use to do, you know, they'll put out this press release that this happening, this happening, this happening, but, we can take a look at it.
I'm just trying to see what tools we have to monitor after a certain period of time, whether, you know, we're throwing so much at the wall and not really making the kind of movement forward that all of us are trying to make. I don't know how you measure that. Take some of these brains.
Some of this unnecessary. Well, what I'm saying is, a lot of times, MDE will send down what they want. Then we as the board might ask something, then we add in some more. And then the supervisor, the director, or the superintendent, they add in some more. And then, then the principal they got to add in some more. So where do it stop? One person down here with a stack of papers like this here got to do all of it. It's going to roll down here. Because if we say we want something, then you have to get it to them, and then they're going to roll it on down. And somebody scratched out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, we need them
It's a lot to digest, that's for sure.
Okay.
Did you get the cut through?
All right. 8.9, Ms. Spears. Ms. Young.
Good afternoon. President James, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Mrs. McDonald. You have before you action item number 8.9, the child nutrition procurement plan and chart procedures. It is the recommendation of the superintendent that the board of trustees approve the procurement plan as submitted on the attached document on June 21st, 2022. Any questions?
Any questions? No? Get approval. 8.9.
So moved.
It's been moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Mr. Davis.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before you have action item 8.10, approval of bid for Vigilon School Security Camera Equipment. Background information on this: electronic bids were received and opened on June 9th, 2022. There were 4 bids from the following companies. We had Bluff City Electronics, AISG, American Integrated Security Group, Talent Services Group, LLC, S&S Systems of America, Incorporated. The board approved for the bids to be reviewed. After review of the bid specifications, AISG, Talent Services Group, LLC, and S&S Systems of America, Incorporated were invited to the reverse auction that was held on Tuesday, June 14, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. The auction started with an opening bid of $470,400 and ended with the lowest bid of $318,000 from Talent Services Group, LLC. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees grant permission to accept the bid from Talent Services Group, LLC.
So, I'm looking at it on the bid paperwork. I see they just kept bidding, just going down and down, right?
Right, it's just a silent auction where they,
Bruce, have you looked at all of this or whatever?
Most of it, yes, sir. I understood it.
So you understand where we are in terms of what the recommendation is?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Well, this is out of, that's a 2?
Yes.
Not that's a 3?
No, it might be 3.
Okay.
But anyway, I think we put in $450,000, so really we're under what we appropriated for. Proposed for it, thanks to the reverse auction.
But that's a 3, so we've expended all of the funds in 1 and 2.
No, so we have not.
Well, I don't think so, okay. Is there a particular reason why it's coming out of 3 versus coming out of 1 or the other?
The application packet. The application packet, each application, each appropriation required a different application package, so we had to spread out the initiatives across those 3 packages.
So we can't, so 2, we haven't used all the 2 yet. So let's say there's something in 2 that is supposed to use, but we don't use it in 2. Where did that go?
Then you have to request a revision for that particular application. So your SR1 appropriation required an application when you outline the initiatives that you had for that program. Because it's a federal appropriation, if you go in to change, there's a request for revisions that we have to submit for approval.
And in the initial package, you approved $450,000 when we sent it in to Jackson.
I'm not questioning that, I was just wondering, I'm trying to keep up with S3, thinking that we haven't really made any kind of real commitments or expenditures out of S3 because we still have funds in S1 or S2. Yes. So that's what I'm trying to, that was the nature of my question. It wasn't, I remember us approving, advertising for the security system, camera system. But then when the say that it's coming out, that's a 3, but we still have funds and that's a 1 and a 2. Why would it be coming out of 3? And she's spoken to that, I guess.
Yeah. Because we already, although we still have money there, but we have the items that we're obligated or that we're proposing to come out of those funds.
Well, I'm just trying to keep a tab on it because ESSER 3 is the last money that we'll get.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure that I, as an individual, am going to be keen aware of those funds because one or more be coming after these. Okay. Right. And we want to make sure that whatever we do is something that we have to do or need to do. And at the same time, hopefully have some rainy day funds left for a year and a half from now, 2 years from now. Because I'm thinking that there's going to be a change of its usage and, regulations and what you need just for that for. Because everybody got a lot of money, didn't need just AC units, okay? So they're going to change that if they haven't already to a certain extent. So that was on my just information about it.
The chances are some of the things we have is 3 or 2 for security purposes because in light of the fact of what's going on through the nation right now, we receive information there's going to probably be another pot of money just to come in and give it security alone.
Right.
So if that happens, then we have to go back and do revision and take those items out probably.
So we could retroactively change who's paying for it.
With approval, yes, I think about it.
Okay.
So if something comes down to security, they put that money back.
Chance of put it back once we get it approved. The only thing about those kinds of money, it takes us so long to approve it. But you can always go back and have a revision.
If something comes for security, I hope they'll let you use it for.
I mean, if it's like grant money, we just do a grant adjustment modification.
But it still got to be in some type of security, right?
Yes.
I'm just wondering whether if we've already paid for it, and then we can access funds for security that we could have paid for it, whether we can get the money even though we've already paid for it with other money.
I think you have to use it in security just like it comes in.
So some more security that we may not need. That's my point. Okay.
Have to do something with it. Okay. We need a approval.
Yes.
I move that we accept the lowest bid of $318,000 from Talent Services Group.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
It passed 5-0. Let me ask something on, not you, just in general. The auction thing seems like it paid out real good with us.
What?
Can you can't do a reverse auction all the time on everything. Because my thought is, you started at 470 and then you saved $152,400. If you had just went with just straight bidding, even the lower person would have been, at the first bid is 300. You know what I'm saying?
Just looking at the way that.
Yeah, you started down here, and everybody was at 450, 470, 450. But then when we ended up, by going back and forth, you ended up in the 3s, a whole $100-something. So I'm just saying.
Bruce, can you authorize, I guess this question is, can you authorize a reverse auction in other instances? Or just this?
You can in other instances, but not all instances.
Specific guidelines.
But so the ones that we can be aware of, that we can do that, Mr. Williams, or whoever.
It all goes through Ms. Young, and believe me, she's on top of her game.
Tell her no.
Mr.
But look, you got me here on the hot spot. You so tell us about the reverse auction.
Well, it's for commodities and equipment over $50,000.
Okay.
So that means.
But this is the first time we've utilized it, is that right?
No, we've used reverse auction before.
Damn, I missed that.
Our first instance was when we were buying our computers. Monitors.
Computers.
When we bought them computers.
We did a reverse auction?
But I mean, if she said it, then
Yeah, we did that back in 2018.
Who is that? Come with a strong boy. Well, let me ask you something. Well, can we use it more often?
Well, yes and no. It's all depending on the state guidelines. I know for a fact that if it's under 200,000, you don't have to do an auction at all. All you need is just 2 quotes or even 1 quote, and just put it on put the EPL number on the quote, and you can order. It's just dependent. Sometimes it works in our favor, and sometimes it doesn't. I have a vendor who she said that for its E-rate wise, they don't like doing reverse auctions on that because you can get more out of it without a reverse auction. Because she said one company one school district they did a reverse auction with, they got it down to like $500,000, but they bid for it and they did the work for like $300,000. So it just varies.
Yeah, if there's not an EPL, you do have to, if it's a commodity or equipment that's over 50, you have to do a reverse auction.
Okay, but he said something, maybe you can clarify this, because I know that if it's over 50,000, we should get 2 quotes. He just said under 200,000.
Yeah, that's on equipment, like with switches, access points, things like that.
So there are certain items that 200,000 is the threshold for having advertised, as opposed to 50,000 with others.
Do you have a dollar on this?
What Todd is talking about is the EPL, the express product list, and it's a list that the state has different vendors. And if they're on that list, then all you need is the 2 quotes from an EPL vendor, and you don't have to do the reverse auction.
Oh, you're talking about state contract price.
With security cameras, there wasn't a vendor under the EPL for that, so we had to do reverse auction.
Okay, so you basically, this is kind of in line with state contract price for certain kinds of things.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on the express product list. It's way easier to get things done if they're on the list compared to when they're on.
We'd rather be on the list, but a lot of times they're not. So.
And a lot of that is usually, my understanding when I've done federal grants, is it's usually technology that goes. So you've got to get it quick. Yeah, you don't have that many companies.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Tennessee. Thank you, Ms. Delana.
You're welcome.
All right. So we did get approval of that. Then we're at 8.11. Is that you, Mr.
Thank you. No problem. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board.
Right.
President, Deputy Superintendent, Legal Counsel. For 8.11, what we have is the general liability insurance renewal with Fisher Brown Bottrell for the 22-23 year. We've been with them for a long time now and have a good relationship with them. I'll just add that you will notice this is up some from the prior year, and that's mainly due to, one, just increasing assets every year. Generally, we're going to acquire more items each year. And second, the big thing is hitting the word already, the material price increase. It's going to cost us more to have a building in place now. Just want to add that in there. And so we recommended that the board would approve the renewal of Fisher Brown Bottrell's general liability insurance, which covers everything from auto crime to cyber crime to just general liability, to accept this renewal for fiscal year 2023.
What's the difference in price?
It's about 60,000, 58 to 60,000.
More?
Yes, more. Yes.
Any rationale for that?
Well, we've had at least 12 million in assets added. And then the second is just, what's out there is just, the inflation, just the material cost, the replacement cost now. the industry data says, hey, it's gonna cost more to insure a building now in light of everything versus what it used to be the year before.
So you saying you think it's justified?
I do, considering what's going on right now, the word yes. Yes, I do.
Is the model school in this price?
Is the remodel school? Oh, no, it's not completed yet, so that's covered under our,
Building risk?
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
so this price here, even when these schools are finna gonna go up a little more.
Yeah, well, you'll go up, yes, sir. I can't say how much, but it definitely gonna be.
What about, okay.
Because that's not captured right now in here at all. It's just things that are in service that we own and have all the rights to. So it's all federal
it would
equipment.
decrease it,
Go.
because we won't have any facilities to a certain extent out of service. So
Everything gonna be still working on up.
But even more important that we make sure that we reuse these things for certain purposes so that, because we are paying insurance on them.
Right. So we had more insurance.
And utilities and everything.
Yes, sir.
So moved. Second.
We've been moving stuff on, all in favor? Pass it 5-0. Man, that was a blow there. Gonna call you bad news.
I'm sorry. I started to get on the phone call. No, I'm just kidding.
Bad news first.
Okay. Going on. You got something else on?
The very next, no, actually, I can be done. You want me? No, we got one more that we gotta do.
The claim doc.
Yes, claims docket and financial reports. Item 8.12 is the approval of the claim dockets and the acceptance of the financial reports. So you have before you the claim dockets from the month of May for approval and 5 financial reports for the month of May for acceptance and acknowledgement.
So all of these are part of the same action.
Yes, it's all under one.
I'll offer a motion, we accept Mr. Bird's presentation report. And I know it's right.
Right. You're right. We know it's right. Can I get a second?
I'm just teasing. I ain't like Mr. James. He called you bad. I didn't call you there.
All in favor. Hey, Lisa, your presentation was good, though. It was good.
Well, I appreciate it.
You presented it good, it just wasn't no.
You had to do it.
Yeah.
There's the information.
As long as you got, what that, the butter on there, you did good.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Out of that. Hey, technology 9.1.
Good afternoon.
Good day, good day.
Before you have the monthly technology report, do I have any questions?
While they're looking there, can you give us an update on where we are with installing switches in our, I was out to Morgantown today, and I think it was working in Morgantown. Can you just give us a brief update on where we are with installing switches?
Mr. Bush, that's the June report, not the May report. That's for the June report. But they are finished installing switches at all the schools except for the high school, because, well, the new middle school, because the new middle school is down right now because they're moving the NDF at that school. So all the switches are installed. What you saw is they are installing the access points for the one-to-one wireless in Morgantown right now. So hopefully they'll have that finished by Friday, and then they'll move on to Magnolia.
Thank you for correcting with all the alphabet you use.
Good job. 9.2.
9.2, Mr. James, is, and the board, members of the board, is our federal programs monthly report. That gives you overview of ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and ESSER 3.
So, Ms. Tony, she not here.
I'm sorry.
Okay, the ESSER 2, I was looking at it.
Did we approve the technology?
It's just
We didn't approve it.
Oh, we don't approve it.
Okay.
Then, So I was looking at Esther too. Now where is the one where it say what's left? Is that the 3
balance?
Oh, we ain't got 6 left here.
As of May 30th, $6,482,216 and extra
$6 million left in there. Here you go. I got a print out. Oh, we get back.
Yeah, I love paper.
You got one too. Just the way she said, you can give me mine back. So he got one. I got it. But anyway, that's your answer too. They'll tell you that. Okay. What we at? 9.3. That's a board calendar. Anything you need to add, give it to Ms. Davis and Ms. Davis, superintendent update.
Yeah, I sent you all information for the superintendent update, but there are 2 things I want to discuss with you in the executive session. It'll be very, very short. I promise you that. Providing you don't have a lot of questions.
I'm not going to ask any more.
Okay. Well, then the next one is 9.5 school board comment. Dr. Blunt, not Dr. Blunt, Dr. Roberts, right?
Please go, sir.
Wait. Okay, Dr. Blunt.
Well, I have no comment.
See? Not Dr. Roberts. I'll come back to you.
I just want to wish everybody, safe summer and,
They got the work.
not the whole summer.
Right.
I would like to wish everybody a safe summer.
Okay, look for it.
I don't know, I probably shouldn't do this, but then again, it's already on television where I walked out of the meeting. And I probably shouldn't share this because it's kind of personal, but it's not. You need to know that the reason I walked out of the meeting is because according to our ethics people, they say that if you have a certain biological relative who works for the district and the school board membership, not vote on it or vote no or whatever the case may be. Well, I have a daughter who I love very dearly, who was adopted when she was 2 months old by someone else. So the question is, will I still have any parental rights? I don't know. I probably don't. But I know that I'm a biological father. So in order to be safe, I just made sure I was not available when she works for the school district. Okay, so that's why I did what I did. It's not, has nothing to do with nothing else. Okay? All right. Now, I probably shouldn't have said that, huh, Bruce?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay. Let me say, she may not know. That's why I made sure I said I love her here.
Okay.
I do.
All right. Ms. Webb?
I just want to reiterate to the high school principal and Mr. Jackson, Mr. Moore, everyone else that was responsible for commencement or graduation. It was phenomenal. I don't know the last time I went to a high school graduation, but it felt good that day. It looked good that day. Yeah. And thank you for just putting on a great show. It was a show.
Yeah. Okay. And I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out. Y'all can take some time off now. You don't need no time.
How many days you off? 1, 2 days.
2 days. Right. Get that many days off.
Ms. Dr. Roberts is so moved.
The meeting
I said 2 weeks.
No, we got to close the termination.
Close the termination.
And thank you for that.
Close the termination.
Are you going to offer the motion to close the termination?
You know, you do it.
I'll offer a motion to have closed the termination.
Second.
Okay, it's been moving second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. We close the termination.
That was the day I was closed, that we going to.
I would just say it's
Exactly.